legal bill so high? This is a question that sincerely good lawyers do not want you to have to ask. This is a service profession, and although our hourly rates may be high, we want you to feel like you're getting good value for that money. We're trying to establish long-term relationships with clients, and a lot of us rely on word of mouth for new business. So the last thing we want is for you to feel like you've been ripped off. With that said, here are a few of the most common reasons I see bills wind up higher than expected. First, treating your lawyer too much like a therapist or a BFF. Now, this one pains me to say, but I'm putting it first anyway because it's so important. I love my clients, I have fantastic relationships with them, and I genuinely care about them and the businesses they've built. And some of the issues that they confront can be very emotionally loaded and stressful. And your lawyer is someone with whom you have a special relationship of confidence. We are truly only on your side, and we want what's best for you. But we are way more expensive than your therapist or best friend. So if you need to spend 90 minutes venting, I get it, and we'll be a listening ear if that's what you want. Some people can actually afford that without a problem. But you might notice that we're also going to politely try to shift the conversation back to legal matters because the clock is running regardless. Even if I were to charge only half the time spent out of compassion for you, if you're calling me 3 or 4 days a week just to vent, like you might do with your mom or therapist, it's still going to add up quickly, and we won't have any work product to show for it. So please be mindful of this. As long as your lawyer isn't running her mouth about her own personal nonsense, she can fairly bill you for all that time that you spend together on the phone. Next, you change your mind repeatedly. So if your lawyer gives you an estimate of the cost or time for a project up front, they're generally going to incorporate some wiggle room for you to make adjustments along the way. What I'm talking about here is clients who give us marching orders, we deliver our near final product for their review, and then they want to readjust the entire strategy. So we do that, and then they decide, hey, they want to go back to something closer to the original plan, but with some significant modifications. And then midway through that, we get a frantic phone call saying, hold up, we want to revisit the second strategy again. So in addition to potentially driving your lawyer crazy, your final bill is going to be 3 or 4 times higher than what you were initially quoted. I see this happen sometimes when the client has multiple advisors in his ear, and then he gets excited about the latest scheme the newest financial advisor has suggested, or he sees a great YouTube video about an alternative way of doing things and he wants to pivot in that direction. You are absolutely allowed to change your mind, and in fact, we expect that we'll need to adapt to evolving business conditions and other circumstances. But when it's done frivolously and repeatedly, that's where legal expenses can really start to add up, and in a way that'll feel disproportionate to the final work product. Finally, expanding the scope of your project. So when your lawyer provides you with a fee estimate, please keep in mind 2 things. First, it's an estimate and not a flat fee or a guaranteed amount. Your lawyer is going to try to keep fees under the estimate, but they could go over if your situation has additional complexities, or you need additional handholding, or any one of 1,000 other factors. Second, the estimate is for the specific project that you agree upon as of the time the estimate is given. So ancillary work will add costs. Changing the scope of your project, maybe by bringing in new parties or adding new properties or altering the business plan so that additional agreements are necessary, that's also going to add costs. And above all, please remember that a retainer is simply an initial deposit to secure legal services. It's not a flat fee or a prepayment unless you have a letter agreement with your lawyer that explicitly states that it is. You should expect to receive a bill for expenses over the retainer amount, which could be significant, maybe even in the thousands of dollars. While your lawyer might be willing to negotiate a payment plan with you after the fact, that's not how they want to spend their time. And I assure you that the last thing any of us lawyers want to do is send a client to collections for non-payment. Now, I know there are some scumbags out there who will charge as much as they think they can get away with, and it's a disgrace to the legal profession. But most of us want your final bill to align with your reasonable expectations so that you don't have any unpleasant surprises, and so that, like you, we can keep the lights on and get our staff paid. Business owners, have you ever received a bill for legal services that was much higher than you planned for? How did you react?